Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for super modified mud racing here at the Centrum at Worcester, Massachusetts. An 80-foot-long mud racing course, 36 inches deep, in which a standing start acceleration contest will bring us the 4 quickest qualifiers in a special shootout to determine the championship. And the first man up is one of the toughest drivers of the 1991 season from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Jeff Acker's supercharged Insanity. On the very first run, Acker puts down a big number, and under the rules in which a driver has to stop within 80 feet past the finish line, Acker does the job flawlessly. The elapsed time, a new course record here at the Centrum, 1.780 seconds.
Jeff, did you shut that thing down intentionally?
Don't like looking at that loader too well. Don't have the normal 80-foot shutdown, it's only 70.
No, as a matter of fact, looking at the banner, it was an even 80 feet right to the front of the loader out there.
Huh. Don't look like it.
In any case, that'll be the number 1 qualifier as Melvin Brown and the supercharged red heat dragster from Ohio readies himself. Melvin Brown shuts the engine off well before the finish line, as he was apparently concerned that he would be unable to stop within the 80 feet allotted distance. Yeah, the engine was shut off at honest 5 feet before the finish line. Brown's elapsed time, 1.845 seconds, will place him number 2 in the field. Here's the rookie driver that has been so strong this year, driving the 3-time World Championship winning Mud Patrol of Tom Martin. It's Paul Schaefer. Incredible, carrying the left front wheel the majority of the course. Schaefer will shut it down in time. That should be an indication to the rest of the drivers that traction is there. Carrying the wheel across the line to an elapsed time of 1.834 seconds. That will put Schaefer only a few thousandths of a second ahead of Brown in number 2. Here's the Sterken brothers out of Michigan, the supercharged Ground Zero Chevy S10. This machine utilizes small block Chevrolet power and puts down an exceptional effort. An amazing run for a machine giving up literally 200 cubic inches to most of its opponents. A career best for Sterken at 1.795 seconds. That'll put him number 2 in the field.
Even your brother was thrilled with that one, buddy.
Yeah, we should be. We've been having a hard time getting her to go.
It seemed like you left the starting line almost at an idle that time.
Yeah, I don't know. She ain't working. We just put the clutch in, and it's not working quite the way we thought it was going.
Well, don't say it ain't working, because whatever it is, you need to do it again every run for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I know it. We're happy.
Great run, guy. Great run. Small block fans, make some noise for this guy.
It now takes a run of 1.834 seconds to qualify, and here's Ohio's Chad Miller, the supercharged roadster called Instant T. Miller's got a beautiful one going. He stops it within a matter of feet from the disqualification marker. An incredible piece of equipment that never fails to produce incredible power. Miller does a beautiful job of driving a 1.791 second ride that'll qualify him number 2.
180 is flying, and do you even think a 180 will hold up in this pit?
I'll tell you, it'll be a real tough competition. There's still some really good trucks out there, but this Chevrolet big block is gonna do it.
And with your fan club back here, how can you lose, right?
Nothing but R&R Machine is number 1.
That's why we call him the Madman. I don't think anybody enjoys racing any more than Mike Spena.
And one thing's for sure, he's got more power than he's ever had in the Psychotic Beast. Waiting patiently on the line for the green light to flash, Spena must give it everything. An incredible run on the brakes. He'll stop it in time, and he is elated just with that. But from the looks of things, that may well have been the career best run that he needed. On the replay, you can see the car left the starting line perfectly, and Lord knows he drove it out the back door, trying to get every ounce of elapsed time he possibly could. He awaits the word. Is it good enough?
He goes 1.832 by 2 thousandths of a second. He gets in the field, a career best, and you're number 4.
Thank you, all ready to rock and roll.
Indeed. Nobody has a better time than this guy, folks. Make some noise for New Hampshire's own Mike Spena.
It'll be good enough to qualify number 4 in what is becoming one of the quickest super-modified fields ever. It now takes Spena's 1.832 second run just to qualify. But here's the killer. 3-time and defending world champion Tom Martin and the Super Trooper. And Martin looks like he may have shut the engine down well before the finish line. He may have committed one of the gravest errors he could have. Definitely the wheels locked up before the 80-foot mark. The elapsed time, 2.028.
He will not qualify for the Camel Shootout on the first run, and I don't think anybody is more surprised than Tom himself.
No, that's true. You know, we're worried about this track down here shutting down, and hopefully we can do better tomorrow.
There's no question you did shut the engine off before the finish line. That was obvious, but you also didn't seem to leave the starting line at a very high RPM. Did you do that intentionally?
No, that's true. You know, we got the nitrous turned down too. You know, we got this big bucket down here, and I'd like to be here for 4 days.
Oh, that's understandable.
But right now, Tom Martin will not be a part of the Camel Shootout. The number 1 qualifier, still Jeff Acker's Insanity at 178.0, and it takes a run of 1.832 seconds by Mike Spena just to get in. But we've got more Monster Truck Championship action coming up, plus stuntman Ernie Adams. We continue action here at the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts, where the super-modified mud racing field has already become one of the quickest ever. And here's Tony Ferroti out of Detroit, Michigan on the starting line with his machine called Let's Boogie. An incredible run carrying the front wheels in the air, but he takes down a finish line pole, and that will be an automatic disqualification. The tragedy is that the elapsed time, 1.749 seconds, would have been the quickest in the history of the sport, and that only means this pit is getting quicker. Mark Watros and the Ford-powered Team Rancho Shock Absorbers funny car is ready. Another tremendous ride, and Watros stops the Thunderbird with plenty of room to spare. An incredible pass. The elapsed time, 1.77 seconds. He'll qualify for the field.
The helmet comes off. Boy, did you pull it out. New track record, number 1 qualifier, 177. You're on the pole.
Yeah, the motor didn't quite feel right. I got something that ain't quite right, but you know how it is when you're on a line, there's no second chances, go.
You're in a completely different situation than most drivers in that you can't see very well out of this thing, first of all. How did you feel about running into this bulldozer down here?
Well, you try and block it out. You line the poles up on both sides and mash the gas.
You did the job, buddy. Number 1 for the Ford.
Thank you, Brett.
Moving on to the starting line, an amazing man in mud racing, Melvin Brown. You can imagine the expense and effort it takes to campaign a super-modified mud racer from coast to coast, but think of the amount of money and determination it takes to run 2 complete operations week in and week out on the tour. Melvin Brown out of Ohio is one of the only drivers to take advantage of an obscure rule in the U.S. Hot Rod Association rulebook that allows a driver to campaign a maximum of 2 vehicles at each event. And every week you'll find Melvin jumping in and out of the driver's seat in pursuit of a world championship. Melvin, obviously everybody has to ask you, why 2 cars?
2 times the fun.
Is it just a matter of making more money and just the enjoyment of the sport, or is there a specific reason in running 2 different machines in one race?
My goal is get about 4 passes a night. That's what I like to do.
So it enables you to learn more about the racing surface by running 2 cars and figure out things for the next event?
Yeah, it's a game of numbers. The early numbers do better, really.
2 completely different race cars, 2 completely different engines, both campaigned by 1 driver. It's truly an incredible job of determination that has already paid off for Melvin Brown. And determination is what he's going to need right now in the Blue Max fuel-injected, nitrous oxide-injected Jeep funny car. He must go 1.795 seconds or quicker to make the field. And he shuts the engine down well before the finish line, again concerned about going out of bounds, and the elapsed time will not be good enough to get in. You can see on the replay, the engine was again dead well before the poles. The elapsed time, 1.939 seconds, won't be good enough. But on the line, one of the most savvy of the mud racers. While there aren't many full-bodied machines left in the sport of mud racing, the 1985 world champion in this sport, David Ray, in the MIDNITE Magic Ford, probably exemplifies the state-of-the-art in this particular type of machine. While Ray doesn't get a chance to tour as much as he'd like to on a nationwide basis, he is still considered one of the true threats in the world of super modifieds. Dave, you're one of the last guys that stuck with a full-bodied truck. Is there any particular reason for it?
Yeah, kind of. I like to see if I can make a full-body truck go just as good as one of these little buggies out here.
Is there an identifiability factor with the Ford body?
Yeah, everybody kind of likes to see a Ford pickup truck come out or a Chevy pickup truck or something of that sort, you know?
As opposed to the lightweight machines that really don't have any identifiability.
You got it right there.
You've got the same kind of engine, if not more so, plenty of power than everybody else. It's state-of-the-art. What's the difference between your machine, say, and Tom Martin's?
There's not a real lot of difference in the machine itself. It's basically the way they're set up because, you know, you got to change a lot of weights more with a pickup truck versus a little buggy.
And I should point out that this thing weighs substantially more than most of the trucks. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it can be a big advantage if you have a real firm track. You can make it hook a lot harder because you can take and put all the power right to the ground.
You've been in this sport since the very beginning, and as we pointed out, a past world championship resides with you. What has been the biggest change you've seen in the evolution of this sport?
Basically, the cars are getting lighter. There's a lot more money going into the cars, a lot more technology. You know, everything is drawn on computers now and figured out right to a T, you know?
You've always seemed like you actually enjoyed the building of the truck more so than you did the driving.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, you get to build something with your own two hands to go out there and compete, and, you know, it makes you feel good if you do real well.
Will we ever get a chance to see you on a full national tour again?
Yeah, next year I'm going to be out there, and I'm going to be someone to reckon with, I guarantee you that.
The name Midnight Magic has a tremendous reputation in this sport, and deservedly so. But David Ray is a soft-spoken man who prefers to let his truck do the talking. And believe me, it will talk. We've already got a supercharged Ford #1. Dave Ray's identical four-wheel drive Ranger must do the trick with one of its quickest runs ever. A great run on the brakes hard. He stops it within 5 feet of the DQ line. A lot of tire spin off the line. The elapsed time, 1.818 seconds. He misses qualifying by 23 thousandths of a second. Byron Tinky out of Iowa and the Bad Habit supercharged Chevrolet makes his bid. The track now developing ruts. Its entire distance may have slowed Tinky on this one. He's elated with having stopped in the required amount of distance, but the elapsed time is not going to be good enough to qualify. 1.833 seconds. It was a straight arrow run, but the machine did bottom out several times. So Tinky will not qualify for this, what has become one of the quickest super-modified fields in history. #1 qualifier, Mark Watros' Team Rancho Ford Thunderbird. The #2 spot goes to Jeff Acker, then Chad Miller and Jeff Sterken. But coming up... Here at the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts, we are ready for one of the ultimate showdowns between the nation's premier super-modified mud racers. And here's Chad Miller, the first man to run in the first qualifying round and making the quick four with the Ohio-based supercharged Chevy-powered Instant T Ford Roadster. He'll stop it in time, the elapsed time, and now the pace for this four-car shootout. 1.766 seconds, one of Chad Miller's quickest runs ever. That'll bring up Jeff and Jack Sterken's Ground Zero S10. It ran a career best in qualifying, and it's going to have to go even quicker now to take the lead. He'll stop it in time, but the starting line launch gave away the fact that the car was not hooking up. A lot of tire spin, a great top-end charge, but it won't be enough. 1.824 seconds won't help the Sterkens get the lead. But for the Ford fans, it's the Team Rancho Thunderbird funny car Mark Watros back, your #1 qualifier. And Watros apparently got sideways at half track and lifts off the throttle. He slams open the hatch. He is obviously upset. You can see the machine move towards the right side of the pit. He got out of the throttle thinking he was going out of bounds, and that will kill the Ford's chances at 1.845 seconds. Meanwhile, it's Jeff Acker's incredible Insanity supercharged Ford T Roadster making its attempt. And Acker shuts the engine down a little bit early. He'll stop in plenty of time. But the elapsed time for Jeff Acker, 1.743 seconds, the quickest run ever in 80 feet of mud in the U.S. Harvard Association Championship Series. What a way to wrap things up, and keep in mind, Acker has knocked Tom Martin down a few notches in the World Championship point standings. In the meantime, we're ready for